Oh, Lord, what the dummy, man. Let's see what this goofy got to say, man. What the dummy back at it again. Drake, Iceman has the industry gatekeepers terrified. Ooh. Drake, the person that can't get a hit if it slapped him in his face, has the industry terrified. Ooh, let's see what type of glazing what the dummy does for BBL Drizzy. Let's proceed.
Iceman episodes from Drake have been something we've covered on this channel since day one, and as a creator, this concept was always really exciting for me because it's fun to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, with that said, the episodes didn't go without criticism. As the series evolved, the episodes became more complex, and by episode 3, there were a lot of complaints about how the viewing experience was boring. And I can see why some people felt that way for sure. With that said, there's not another artist on this planet across all genres of music who gets as much unreasonable criticism as Drake. The man could pull off an Academy Award-winning movie, and a certain amount of people will pick it apart regardless. When it comes to the Drake hate, especially on YouTube, you got to look at the creators who are talking about him, because like 9 times...
Here he goes, man. God damn. My green screen don't want me to be great, man. God. Let me be great, man. Let me be great, green screen. Shut up. I don't even know what he's talking about. Shut up. Shut up.
Is it a 10? That's what they do for a living. Like grown-ass men, I'm not joking. I find the whole thing bizarre because it's like you get up every day with the mission of hating on this person, but without them, you would like cease to exist. Anyways, Drake, along with Matt Babel from Dream Crew, dropped an interview with Complex
where he tried to explain why his interview was so trash, why his episodes were so trash.
He finally touches on the Iceman episodes. Now, a lot of you guys might not know who Matt is, or some of you might not know what Dream Crew is. So Matt is from Toronto, and he's known Drake as far back as the Degrassi days because Matt was a guest actor in one of the episodes. They also ran in some of the same circles in Toronto where they would meet at parties, but they really became closer friends shortly before Drake's music career really popped off. Matt is actually one of the people in the Started From the Bottom music video, like back in 2013. So Matt is another key person that Drake connected with, and it made sense to add him to the roster because the guy was a high achiever. In high school, he played basketball, was known as a gifted player, then he went to university and became extremely educated, then eventually he went into media, and he joined Much Music as a host. And I knew I recognized this guy from somewhere, and it was Much Music, which is it's a Canadian show.
The album is Good Girl Gone Bad. The artist is Rihanna. She's in the building. Rihanna, come on in.
And from there, he went on.
Never seen him before. I live in America, so I don't know what Canadians are doing out there.
To work with like ET Canada as a host and like a couple other media companies. Another interesting thing about Matt is he's also in a relationship with a very famous Canadian actress, and that is Pretty Little Liars star Shay Mitchell. What do you think, the boy is going to surround himself with a bunch of fucking chickens or what? No.
What's our song?
Is One Dance. How many one dance?
So that's like a quick rundown on who Matt is, and if you guys want, I can do a full-on breakdown of like all the people in Drake's team, who they are, what they do, how he knows them. Leave it in the comments. So Matt makes up 1/3.
Why do you even know this? You don't think that's a little strange that you know everybody in his crew? Y'all don't find that a little strange? A little weird?
Of Drake's management team. When you see Drake with new brand partnerships, a new tour, a new set design, the lighting, media releases, licensing, Matt's footprint is all over things like this. So he's like a business and branding expert who's also obviously creative. The Nocta and Nike collaboration for Drake is something that Matt directly oversees. When you get a sneaker like the Nike Air Terra Noctas, he's the man that executes the whole thing and gets those sneakers onto your feet. I only got one pair, but like out of all my sneakers...
On who feet? I ain't never seen nobody wear those shoes. Never.
I would say that I would give it like top 3. It's like it's in the top 3 most comfortable sneaker in my collection, definitely. With that said, in this Complex interview, we see that the creative direction of the Iceman episodes were through Drake's company called Dream Crew Entertainment. Dream Crew is one of the many ventures that Drake has that made him a billionaire. It's a full-blown arts and entertainment company behind massive hit shows like Euphoria, documentaries like Chiefsaholic, the Dear Mama Tupac series, Top Boy, and so many others. When you see that cool interactive online tour for things like Drake's plane or his mansion or the Amazon warehouse, all that comes from Dream Crew. The Nocta deal, the touring, the marketing, Drake's new fragrance company, all initiated through that company. Now, Matt Babel in particular is pivotal in all this because he's the chief management and branding officer of Dream Crew. And Drake started this company in 2017 when he was 30. 30 years old, and now it's completely exploded, right? Like, it's a pretty impressive outfit. So, unsurprisingly, the company spearheading the Iceman episodes is Dream Crew, and we got both Drake and Matt Babel chiming in on the entire series. I was glad that they did this, like this whole interview, because there was like a lot of misconceptions around Iceman. There was even rumors going around that he had like abandoned the project, was just lies. But I'm glad that he did this. Drake starts off the interview talking about how he's sick of the cookie cutter album rollouts, saying that it's a standard formula that has been ingrained into our brains from the early label days. Decades of the same format, like drop a video or drop a single, go to the radio station, go to the magazine, sit down with...
I got to speed this up a little more. He talking too slow. I got to speed this up to 1.75. We got to get through this boring ass shit.
Elliot. It's like there's been zero innovation. So not only is Drake sick of this format, but in a lot of ways, I believe he's grown to hate not just the program, but the people behind it. It's this old school entitled gatekeeper monopoly rollout that the Iceman episodes goes entirely against. I remember when academics first rose to prominence and hearing the bitter legacy journalists talk down on him because he didn't fit into that box. Independent creatives are a major threat to everything that is their careers, which is why streamers like Kai get similar treatment from them. If they're unwilling to adapt, like they're watching their livelihoods slip through their fingers because the power has clearly shifted. So Drake is basically saying, I don't need to do an interview with Elliot or Zane Lowe. I don't need to do your magazine. I don't need to do your radio station. I don't need to drop a music video. I'm going to attempt something completely different and unlike everyone else in the game, try something new. Aiden said back in 2021 that he was building a computer for Drake because Drake said even back then that he wanted to start streaming.
I literally talked to Drake, bro. I swear to God, I talked to Drake. I was gonna get a video, then it would have been kind of weird, you know what I mean? I swear to God, I talked to Drake in a Discord call. It was me, Drake 40, and it was like one other person I didn't really know who he was. Connected Drizzy with a plug to build him his computer, his gaming computer. Supposedly Drake wants to start streaming. And you know what else, chat? Swear to God, guess what else Drake said? He's watched my streams before, bro. He's literally, he loves the streams. He's been here before. So, fucking crazy news, bro. Crazy fucking news. I don't know who put him on to me. Oh, I was just speechless after that. I was like, wow, this motherfucker really watches my shit.
As early as 2018, Drake was collaborating on streams with people like Ninja, where they played Fortnite.
So how long have you been playing Fortnite or been a fan?
Probably like for about a month or two, maybe.
So he's been looking at streaming really closely for a very long time. Drake explains how the Iceman episodes were a challenge, and that's what he loved about it. Each episode, the team pushed themselves further and asked questions like, how high can the quality get? How many cameras can go live at the same time? 12, 13, 14? Can we get a drone shot to go live? And anyone with a half-functioning brain with any sort of common sense will be able to look at what he's doing and say, like, this is not easy to pull off, but I guess a lot of people couldn't. Drake talks about episode 1, where he drove the Iceman truck through Toronto, and even mentions that the funniest thing that happened was when some tall white boy called him a bitch.
So where? So what then? So what then, big dog? Don't look away now. Pussy.
As amazing as the episode was, this is what most of the people talked about, was like the dude calling Drake a bitch. And like that's how pathetic they are. Something else Drake spoke about was how the episodes allowed him to tease new music to see what fans gravitated to. For example, last night on stream, we did a poll where fans voted what their favorite song was from episode 3, and the Lake Como joint was the winner. I think this is cool, being able to do polls and see what you guys like. So it looks like Lake Como did win. We also did a poll for episode 1, and the people said that they liked Supermax Deals.
Losing all these friends really got to me. I was talking to Taylor, drinks, and it was getting deep.
I love the way that this sounded. This was something that we didn't get yet. And for episode 2, they voted for National Treasure, which is really sad that it leaked.
Saying we used to be planning our Mexico trip in the spring.
We can cut off the poll right there. It's clear that National Treasure takes it. Drake also spoke on the fact that they love seeing fan theories and how people have been either picking up on what the symbolism meant, or they started creating their own narratives. I think that's the whole point, right? Is to get people talking. Like, that's the fun in it, trying to figure out like what it...
To basically be like Kendrick Lamar, because that's literally what Kendrick Lamar does. So you're basically admitting that Drake want to be like Kendrick Lamar, because that's literally what Kendrick does. All right, cool. All right.
All means. I remember looking at this and being like, over-analyzing what's on the fucking board as if any of this stuff mattered at all. I think this didn't mean anything. Next, Drake and Matt got into the technical details behind the episodes that many people overlook. For example, it was revealed in episode 1 that Drake didn't even know if they were live because when they did trial runs, the signal would cut out. They were actually very concerned if the whole thing was even possible. And it's not like there's a roadmap or someone that you could call for advice because it's never been done before. For episode 1, they also revealed that because of all the issues that they faced, they had to delay it until Friday instead of a Thursday, which likely cost them the #1 spot for What Did I Miss because they lost a full day's worth of data. Also, like with the shit he got going on with his label, and I'm just using common sense, like that record normally would have went #1, 100%. Next, they spoke on episode 2 in Manchester, where not only was Drake on tour, but they only had 3 days to secure the locations, get all the cameras sorted out, and build a crew. All the crew members from episode 2 were hired locally in London. It's like this crazy on the...
All right, so why is the industry gatekeepers terrified? Because what you're saying, you're just explaining why it flopped. So why would the gatekeepers be terrified of something that flopped?
The fly thing where like they weren't even securing permits to go into these areas. They might find a spot that they love, get kicked out. They might find another spot that they love, no signal. It was even revealed that when Drake walked through the train station at the end of episode 2, that was the first time that he had ever walked through there because they knew they wouldn't allow Drake to do it. We ran a poll last night and the fan favorite of the 3 episodes was episode 2. And I agree, like that was my favorite episode 2. 1 is fire though. 1 probably is the best maybe, but I just like the storyline of 2. Like they said in the interview, he's not in Toronto, he's in like, you know, he's in the UK, he's in Manchester. I like number 2. Next, they spoke about episode 3 in Milan, which was the biggest challenge yet. Matt Babel said they only had 8 days to prepare in Italy. They lost a few cameras, they got kicked out of a few spots, and at one point it even started to rain. And as you know, water doesn't really mix well with electricity. electronics. We talked about this in my breakdown, like all the equipment required for episode 3 and like the detail they put into it was insane. As this episode required 16 cameras, 2 Steadicams, 1 drone, 14 locations with just 3 days to prepare, and I didn't count, but there has to be at least over 100 actors. Drake went.
And that's crazy. All of that just to flop. And I don't even remember episode 3. Was episode 3 when Casanat was like, what the hell are we doing? We just sitting here for 30 minutes watching these Pinocchio. Oh yeah. I think that's the one when we were sitting there for like 30 minutes watching 4 cameras film Pinocchio, like playing with ice and walking around in circles. Yeah, that. Wow. All that production just to fail. Damn.
On to say that the biggest misconception is just how easy people think that it is. We're not talking about a controlled music video where you can shoot things 100 times. This is all happening in real time in completely different countries. There's no going back and editing. Like, you don't have the luxury of doing that. If a camera goes out, you got to improvise on the fly and try to figure out really a way around it. Matt also speaks on the complexities of moving Drake from one location to the next, where they needed to find places to shoot that were fairly close together. This is something else that we spoke about in my breakdowns, where I was able to do the math to see how long it would take for Drake to get in position for the next scene. The reason why you're seeing all these doors and like the pool and it's 5 to 7 minutes before you see Drake, it's because it takes them that long to get from this business to, like, you know, over here. And I do believe they knew that showing these scenes for extended times wasn't ideal, and in some cases, like in episode 2, they played an unreleased Central C record while he was sitting on a bench.
When I cool in my phone, my beef and my feet in the sun as I adjust the position.
So what they did here is they used music to allow Drake time to get from here to here, right? Which I think is better than just like random objects. Matt continued to explain that by the time they got to episode 3, they were dealing with picture-in-picture feeds, live drones, and more than a dozen cameras feeding into one stream. Then, of course, they're layering music on top, which complicates things even more. Like I said, man, like, I'm glad they did this interview because I feel like a lot of people just didn't get it. Like, they didn't know what actually went into this thing. To end off the interview, it was revealed that the Iceman episodes weren't finished, and Drake said the finale will be their best work yet. So now that the bugs are all worked out and they know what works, they know what doesn't work, I feel like the next episode's going to be really dope, and it seems like they're taking the time to get it right. So I'm expecting the next one to be crazy. By the way, watch this video right here. It's really dope. It's about all the times that Eminem's lyrics were brought up in like actual murder cases.
What the fuck did I just watch? What the dummy? What the fuck did I just watch? I thought you was going to give an explanation on why the gatekeepers are terrified. Okay, so let me understand this. The gatekeepers of the industry are terrified because Drake dropped 3 episodes on his YouTube channel, which received heavily criticism and complaints of how boring it was. Even Casanat said, man, what the hell is this? Why are we just sitting here? There's so much empty space. It's so much trash. So the industry is afraid that Drake is going to keep dropping trash promotion for Iceman. Is that what I'm getting here? Man, shut up, man. What the fuck did I just watch?